Welcome to the next episode of Youth Move Colorado's podcast. We're going to be talking about Halloween right in time for October. We'll talk about making sure that we're staying safe on Halloween weekend and some fun, sober activities for this spooky season. And maybe we'll chat about costumes.
The material and information presented here is provided by lived experience youth and for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are of the guests of our podcast own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Youth Move.
Hey, guys.
Hey, yep, as Julia was saying, Halloween is coming up and everybody is pretty excited about it. I don't know about y'all, but some about this year, I'm pretty excited for it. Some things that we would like to go over. I don't know how many times people are going to tell you costumes are flammable. They're very flammable. So be careful because of the material, how they're really itchy and uncomfortable. Yeah, that's highly flammable. I can't remember what material it is, but it's really cheap. And so it's just one, be mindful of that. Two, wear whatever it is that you want to wear, but also be mindful of culture appropriation when it comes to these things. So, for example, you are not going to be wearing headdresses. We're not going to be dressing as Indians. We're not going to be dressing up as Black people. Blackface is highly inappropriate. We're not dressing in Mexican culture as well. If you are going to do those things, be more, what is the word for it? Be more appreciative instead of being well, why can't I do it situation. There are certain things that you can do. You could dress up in the 70s. Just don't put yourself in a giant afro and paint yourself a different color. I don't know. I'm just trying to process all this. It seems a little weird. I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole thing?
Well, I think bringing up cultural appreciation versus appropriation is really important because a lot of people kind of conflate those two. Oh, why is this bad? I'm appreciating, Hawaiian culture by wearing a coconut bra and a luau skirt, but I think that it's important to note that if you're dressing up as another person's culture, it's something that maybe someone who looks like them were oppressed for. And then you're just putting that on as a costume and then you're able to take that off. Super icky. So
Yeah.
I that's why that's bad. So be safe. Someone else's culture is not a costume.
Yeah. I recently looked up the Google definition of it because I was like, is this what I think it is? Because I never really heard of it. And then I was like, oh, that's just a whole another level of disrespect because we dress up as monsters, evil stuff, bad things on Halloween or cute little weird things. But then it's almost like you're making fun of them or you're calling them a monster in whatever culture you're dressing up. And it's terrible.
Yeah, it's highly inappropriate. And the thing is now as society, we're starting to adjust this, which I'm absolutely proud of us for, but you still have those people that are just well, why can't I do it? And it's just it's the matter of respect. It's the matter of due diligence. You're not going to go to a Halloween party and be yo, yiggity, yo, no, just, if you're going to dress like the 90s, dress up as the 90s. Just don't throw in your AAVE while you're adding to that, And for those that don't know what AAV is, it's African American Vernacular English. So basically what that is just how Black people talk, other cultures talk the same way, and they don't use it in the right context. So words like on fleek, slay, queen, things of that sort, they use that in the wrong context, or they overexert themselves with the words and it just becomes meshed together and it's kind of gross. But that's
Yeah.
the other thing too. Mhm. Go for it.
I was gonna ask, like, what do we think about slang like that now being kind of clocked as like, oh, it's like Gen Z slang, it's TikTok slang, without paying respect to the fact that Black Americans have coined slang like that in like the 90s and it's kind of being stolen, right?
Yeah. When it comes to ugh, that conversation, it's a very touchy subject for me at least because it's just like it's not very well respected because as a Black person, it's always like when you tell them like, "Hey, that's not very appropriate," they always navigate that situation of, "Oh, I've either A, been in the hood, B, I know how to experience this because I have Black friends, or C of the sort, I have Black grandparents, some type of ancestry." And it's just like, okay, that's cool and all, but you are not part of that culture just because you married somebody that's Black or a parent is Black. Like, yes, you have a parent that is Black that does make you Black, but I'm going off of the sense of saying you end up having like a step sibling that is Black and you are the white sibling and you're just like, oh, I could say XYZ because my sibling's Black. And it's like, that doesn't matter. You have no say so in that situation. And that's why it makes me uncomfortable because it's just like, for many, many years, our culture has been everybody's joke, or it's deemed as ghetto, it's deemed as ratchet, it's deemed so wrong, but let Kim Kardashian do it, let Dua Lipa do it, or anybody of that sort that is not Black, then we're trend setting. It's amazing. It's this amazing culture and everybody has to respect it because somebody outside of the Black race did it. It's annoying. It's disrespectful. And I feel like it needs to be also categorized with that. Do not make your little Halloween activities in that culture of or manner.
It absolutely goes back to that, like, it's cultural appropriation and you'll you're able to put that as a white person, you're able to put that hat on and then just take it off and
Right,
not deal with, like, the generational trauma of systematic racism.
right.
Also, I feel like we need to cover like don't dress up as an LGBTQ person either, because that's like a whole
Absolutely.
different type thing, but it's almost the same thing. And it's just as disrespectful as, dressing up like as another cultural person that's not or culture.
Right.
Honestly, when it comes to that situation as well, it's ooh, it's so touchy because it's just like like I said, we as a generation are transitioning into like everybody's being who they want to be. And, we're also having those trolls in the background that are just like, well, I'm going to crack this joke because I can. And it's just like, no, it's not okay. And it's just like, also in the same breath, we have a lot of women that are being more comfortable with their bodies. So I don't know about y'all. The majority of the time, Halloween, everybody has this like idea. I don't know what movie it's from, but it was they said something along the lines of like Halloween is the one time that everybody dresses slutty and nobody says anything.
Mean Girl.
Which there we go, Mean Girls. That's what I was that's what I was thinking. And a lot of the times it's like, yeah, the good chunk of people don't say anything. There's still that little itty bitty thing, which you have the right to your own body and you have the choice to wear whatever costume it is that is comfortable for your body. Do not let anybody shame you for having a costume. If you want to be an angel and wear your pasties and throw on some wings, then by all means do that, babe. If you want to completely walk around and be dressed as a banana, then by all means. Halloween is not meant to be some you have to follow this rule or follow that rule. It's what is it? It's a spectrum. That's the word that I was looking for. It's a spectrum because there's been several times where I had a costume and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have worn that. But then I look back and I was like, it's the memories that I have with that instead of me being like, maybe I shouldn't have worn that. Have fun. Don't be so like stick in the mud about it. Don't be a stickler about your outfit. But I will say this, ladies and gents, if you are going to be wearing something along the lines of, I'm going to put air quotes on slutty because people, Colorado's cold, babe. I'm going to be honest with you. October is always cold. I don't know why. I always like to determine winter time in October, specifically Halloween night, because if it snows, we'll have a bad winter. But if it's kind of cold, we'll be kind of decent. So that's the other thing. If you're going to be out there doing your thing, wear your fishnets, bring a jacket or wear a costume that kind of goes along the lines of the weather. Base your Halloween costumes on the weather. That's all I got to say about that.
On the
So,
topic of like going out, like dressing up and going out,
mhm,
like Halloween is one of those holidays that's so centered sometimes around like once you're past the age of like trick or treating, it's like it's very centered around like partying. And I feel like it can be really triggering for young people who are like in recovery or just straight up don't drink and don't want to be around it. What do you guys like to do? Like, what kind of sober activities do you guys like to do around Halloween?
There's
so you want to
all
go for
kinds of
this?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I like to go to haunted houses, and that doesn't involve any substances. Like you just go there, you pay, and then you go get scared for like maybe 45 minutes to an hour of like just going through different things. I went to Frightmare Compound last weekend. It was so crazy. So crazy. There was like 3 levels. You had to go down into like a mining shaft, and like there was miners with like face masks and like jumpsuits and pickaxes and like just all kind of scary stuff. And then there's like an attic with like a lady with baby doll, and then we had to like crawl through this 1950s refrigerator to get out. It was like so crazy.
Not
But
for me.
then, yeah, I also like baking cookies at home, like Halloween cookies, staying inside, watching scary movies.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I was like, well, if you're a square like me, I'm more of the type to be like, if you even have like your bestie or like your significant other or stuff like that, I suggest to you guys go to like Target or Walmart or anywhere that you could like get some PJs, get them Halloween themed, and then just watch all types of scary movies. Go watch Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus 2 is pretty good. I know a few of you are probably like younger than us that are listening. I suggest y'all watch the OG Halloween movies like Halloween Town, watch Twitches too, because it's not going to make sense if you just watch one or the other. You got to watch both of them. It's dual pair.
Witches,
But
it gave me nightmares. I couldn't watch it. I still can't.
oh my
I still can't
God,
Halloween though.
the one movie that I've been trying to find for years is, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it's called Scary Godmother Spooktacular. Okay, so every time when I tell people this, they look at me crazy and I'm like, I promise you, this movie was out when we were kids. It was on Cartoon Network. And it was like this little brief little see, yes, that one exactly. That one, and then the second one, Jimmy's Revenge. So if you guys just so happen to see that movie, please watch it. It is so good. Like that is like the oldest movie that I could go back to. But that's another thing. And honestly, what age do you guys feel like we should stop at trick or treating? Because my thing is, if I got a costume on and I'm holding out a bag, I feel like you should give me candy regardless, but that's just me though. I got stopped at trick or treating. I got stopped at 14. And it was difficult for me because I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm in this weird age. I can't go to these parties because I'm like a minor, and then I'm trying to go trick or treat, and then you looking at me crazy because I'm a teenager. You're like, aren't you supposed to be at a party? Well, aren't you? So it's just like, where do we gauge that? Because I feel like there's no age limit when it comes to that. Like, I
I
feel
think it
like when
shouldn't
it
be.
comes to that, right? I don't know. What do you
Yeah,
guys
I
think?
think that's around the age that I stopped too, like 14, maybe 15, sometime in high school.
Hmm.
Um,
I
I
don't know.
stopped
I feel like go for
I
it, Savannah.
stopped I stopped trick-or-treating around 12 and a half, something
Mm,
like that, because a lot of I don't know, my mom was like, "When are you gonna stop trick-or-treating? This is weird," and all this. I'm like, "Well, I get
mhm.
free stuff. I don't know." And then
Exactly.
she was like, "Well, you have to grow up someday." I'm like, "Okay, but can I still, like, buy costumes and stuff?" She was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, what's the costume gonna be for?" Then she's like, "Well, I don't know." And then I was just like, "You know what? I'm done because this seems more of a hassle than it's fun." And then, as you said, Saraeyah, like when I went to certain houses, they're all like, "You're kind of big," and I'm like, "I'm the shortest in my class. What are you talking about? I'm super short."
Another thing that, since we're on the topic of trick or treating, we got our youth, obviously. Since we're on the subject of trick or treating, what are some safety precautions that we can do for trick or treating? My thing is flashlights. Flashlights are so important because I don't know how many times I've went trick or treating and it's so dark that the cars can't see me and I've almost gotten hit. So that is another thing, like flashlights, get your glow sticks. If your costume glows, even better. If you don't want to ruin your costume, I suggest getting glow sticks and stuff like that. But other than that, like do like the little hazard tape, something like that, just to make sure that the cars can see you. Also, there's weirdos. Stay with a group. I know it's like we're too old to be in a group. We could just go. No, stick with the group because Halloween, the freaks come out at night. Okay, since we're on the subject of Halloween, the freaks come out at night, and it's not safe for you guys to be ripping and running the streets and antagonizing people. Like, I don't know. I have a story, but I'm gonna let everybody else go on and go for it because whew, it was
I
crazy.
I have a memory in my neighborhood. There was like these older kids that didn't want to go trick or treating. They thought it was so uncool or whatever. And then when I got to an age of like not trick or treating, they asked me, they're like, "You guys like, you want to go like back snatching tonight? Push down little kids and take their candy?" And I'm like, "I don't want to do that. Would you want that to happen to you when you were a kid?" And then they were like, "Well, it happened to me one time." It's like, you don't need to do that just to get what revenge on little innocent kids that didn't do anything to you. I was just beyond myself, like beside myself. I was like, "No, I'm not doing that." And they're like, "Oh, okay. I'll just go ask my mom to buy some candy. I don't really care."
Yeah, I mean, I feel like be nice, stay out of trouble. There's a lot of, pranking going on around Halloween. Don't be dumb and, get in trouble for egging a car or TPing a house. You'll have a lot more fun if you stay out of trouble and make sure that you're with people that you trust too. I think that's really important. Like, no matter what you're doing, it's just like making sure that you trust people around you implicitly to like keep you safe.
Another thing, if you are trick or treating, do not go inside of any stranger's house. I don't care if they say the candy is in here, blah, blah. No, you do not go inside someone's house when you're trick or treating. That is a complete stranger. They may do whatever they want. when they shut the door on. It's very
Right.
scary.
Very good advice. I haven't thought of that actually.
Also, it's okay to be scared if you're going trick or treating because some people be making their houses like crazy. And I think that's honestly, I feel like we as a society need to like decorate way more. Like, the same energy that they give for Christmas, I feel like they need to do that for Halloween because it's so cool seeing the houses like the same way like during Christmas you kind of look at the Christmas lights and stuff like that. I feel like Halloween should do the same thing. It's so cool. But what ended up happening to me, my cousins, and my siblings is there was this guy. He was in a Jason Voorhees costume. And so we were walking down the street and we were going to wrap back around to go back to my grandparents' house. And he was just standing there. And so I was like, guys, we need to come back here because they were full force walking. I was like, oh, guys, no, this don't feel right. You guys need to come back over here. We're just gonna walk back around, you know. And they're like, but we really need to go to those houses. We didn't go to these last four. And I'm like, to heck with those last four. We're gonna go around. And come to find out he was terrorizing kids. It tried to snatch kids. And so we were like, yeesh, like he was really weird. And I was just like, yeah, be mindful of those people too. Also, going on the subject of like going to haunted houses, if you are not the type of person that is not comfortable, cough, cough, me, going to haunted houses and things of that sort, please let your friends know. Or if you are willing to go with your friends, let them know that you need to be in the middle or actually just be in the middle. Cause I was sitting here like maybe in the front, but no, or in the back, cause they always get the people in the front and get the people in the back. So stick in the middle. Cause the last time I went to a haunted house, I had like the worst panic attack and ruined it for everybody. So be careful of that. Be respectful of your friends. Another sober activity that I just thought about, we don't have apple picking in Colorado, do we? But we do have pumpkin patches and corn mazes. So that's another sober activity that you can do with your friends and family and stuff like that. Because maybe you don't really like Halloween and you just want to enjoy in the fall festivities. Go carve some pumpkins and things of that sort, which that's another thing that we got to talk about too. Not many people celebrate Halloween, for cultural reasons or anything of that sort. So another option, if you are with family, they go to church. I don't know how this works, but some of them go to church and talk about it. I can't think of anything else like to discuss about Halloween other than all the things that we talked about. So,
All right. Thanks for tuning in for our Halloween episode. Happy Halloween and stay safe out there. See you next time.